Hello. Welcome to Songbook Watch Party. I'm Dominic Fernacci. It's a pleasure to literally see all of you today. It's a very special day here. It's the last episode of the month. We have a lot of exciting announcements coming up that we're going to be making in a couple days about the next steps of Songbook Watch Party. We just started at the beginning of April, and we're glad to close out this month with one of my favorite musicians, fellow trumpet player and a vocalist, Bria Skonberg. So, Songbook Watch Party. We want to bring you good conversation, some live music, some fascinating history, and a couple special songs that we remotely collaborate on together, specifically for each episode. This will actually be the first time that Bria and I are collaborating after many years, so I'm really excited to premiere a couple of these pieces for you. Bria is an outstanding band leader, composer, trumpet player, vocalist who has toured the world with her band. We share a love for a lot of the great songs that came out of the first half of the 1900s. A lot of songs that so many jazz musicians kind of internalize and make part of our everyday life. And so I'd like to start off with a song that is an iconic song for virtually all jazz trumpet players. They've all played it at some point in their career. And my favorite version, one of my favorite versions of this song, Stardust, is by the trumpet player who's influenced me the most over the years, Clifford Brown. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's such a beautiful song. Somebody who I've known since moving to New York City in 2001, who was my jazz history teacher at Juilliard. He's become a mentor of mine over the years and a dear friend, and we're so glad to have him as a resident guest on Songbook Watch Party. He's the founder of the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, a wonderful saxophonist and piano and band leader, and he's a multi-Grammy award-winning writer. Please welcome, joining us from the Bronx, New York City, Lauren Schoenberg.
Hey, Dom, how are you?
Hey, Lauren. All right, man. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Sound great as always.
Thank you. Thank you. I know we spent many jazz history classes checking out that song and so many others from that era. And that's why I'm really excited to have Bria with us, you know, who kind of part of her musicality is really the embodiment of a lot of those beautiful songs.
I didn't know that you were awake during those classes.
I was. I recorded it. I listened to them just yesterday, right
Okay,
before the
okay.
show, so I have something intelligent to say. Yeah.
No, 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 no. No, I've been a big fan of Bria's for a long time, since I first heard her. And as soon as I see myself on the screen, I'll talk again.
You
I'm
are.
joking with you. No, it's okay. I'm sorry. But basically, Bria, you know, I first heard about Bria. Maybe we'll get into this in the discussion with her. Was Dan Morgenstern, and Dan rarely talks. Dan, as some of you might know, is he'll be 90. Let's see, he'll be 91 this year, and he's kind of the most eminent jazz historian, critic, and beloved guy in the world. And he rarely, you know, with all the musicians he's heard and people who come to town, he pulled my coat to Bria as soon as she came to New York and said, "You got to get down in here." And I mean, I heard she did this and she did that, but first time I heard her was actually with the Louis Armstrong Legacy Band. And it was so unusual, and she reminded of you, and she reminded me of you in a certain kind of way. She's better looking, but all kidding aside, she reminded me in the sense that she has a real.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, she's like what I call like an old soul. And frankly, Dom, since I met you when you were 18 or 19, you impressed me as an old soul. And Bria has something, you know, that, as everyone will find out, you don't need to hear me talk anymore about it. I can't wait to hear. I wanted to play something for you just real quickly.
Yes,
say hello from the Bronx. And this is an old song too. And here's just a little snippet of it.
Yes. All right, that's beautiful. What song was that?
Stardust.
Okay.
That's an old tune from 1930 called Three Little Words.
Okay. So what's the significance? How did you come across that song? It's a bit hard to hear you, Lauren, which is actually a good thing sometimes, but not right now. Yeah.
Is that better?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about the sound, everybody. My mic is on the fritz, and I'll have it ready for the next show. Three Little Words is a tune that Duke Ellington introduced in a film in 1930 called Check and Double Check. Bing Crosby sang it, and a lot of great jazz musicians made records of it, starting with Lester Young and Benny Goodman and many others. And Sonny Rollins loves to play it, and I think it could even withstand my treatment. It's that strong.
It's beautiful, man. It's so wonderful to always hear you. And we're so glad that you're here every episode. It seems like you don't have anything else going on, so that's good. Yeah, thank you. By the way, National Jazz Museum in Harlem, Lauren has a wonderful series that's happening around the Savory Collection. Just go to his page or the National Jazz Museum in Harlem. Some wonderful history and incredible recordings. Most of them you probably haven't heard before. So we're so excited to get to Bria, and I know Bria has quite a few fans. It's great to see a lot of new faces here on Songbook Watch Party. Before we bring her on, just like to give a special thank you to our lead sponsor, Tri-C Jazz Fest Cleveland. My hometown of Cleveland. I'm here in Ohio City, and I've been working with Jazz Fest since I was just 14 or 15 years old. We've had a tremendous impact on the community, and we're going into our 41st year of the Jazz Fest, which is going to be a whole reimagined kind of thing, which we're really excited to share with you. You can go to tricjazzfest.com to learn more about some cool updates coming up. And by the way, welcome to put in questions. We'd love to hear from you and love to hear from where you're from in the world as well. So I already see a couple folks, talking about Clifford Brown, and that's great. Oh, man, wonderful. Happy to watch you guys. Used to come see Bria back in the day. All right. Well, Bria, in listening to her music, seeing how she leads a band and being so well versed as a songwriter in the American songbook repertoire, and also bridging into incredible original compositions, which we're going to get to in a bit. I've always admired her talent for years. The Wall Street Journal calls Bria one of the most versatile and imposing musicians of her generation. She's won a Juno Award for her past album, performs at Carnegie Hall as part of the San Francisco Jazz Collective, and leads a band throughout the world. Today is a special day because she has just debuted a brand new music video, which you're going to get a sneak peek of, which we're really excited about. But for now, here's a clip of her, actually at the iconic venue in New York City, Joe's Pub at the Public Theater. Check it out.
Picture me and partner me, T for two and two for T-O. How happy we'll be with nobody near to see us. Now here's the friends or relations. We can vacation, don't let them know we own a telephone. Dear, they will break in your way. I'll start to bake a sugar cake for you to take for all the boys to see. We will raise a family, a boy for you, a girl for me. Think of just how happy we would be.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Bria Skonberg. Hello, Bria.
Hello, hello everybody. Hey, good to join the party.
Yes. So where are you right now?
I'm in Lower East Side of Manhattan, New York.
Okay,
At least I think
great.
I am. I haven't really seen the city in a month, but it feels like it.
It's been very cool to see all the things you've been doing online, all the new songs that you're creating, and the partnerships, and all the Instagram lives and Facebook lives and all that. It's really wonderful. And thank you for sharing all of that music with us at a time where we can't physically be in person.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for doing this sort of thing too. I think like you know, I love so much playing for people. I feed off of the energy of the people that I perform for and interact with. So I've just been kind of like, how can I continue that in whatever ways are available to me? And this is one of them. Thank you.
Yes, of course. You know, I love checking out artist quotes specifically on their website, because that means it's like in total context of what's happening. I got to read this because it's so beautifully stated. I'd like to ask you about it. You said, "I play jazz because it's the closest I can get to flying, spreading joy, relating to the human experience, and putting good into the world to counteract the negative. I want to make music that makes people feel and think." Such a beautiful quote about the closest you can get to flying.
Yeah, you know, it's true. I mean, when we're improvising in jazz, it just, the freedom that you get is so inspiring and liberating. And I really, you know, that quote to me makes the most sense when I'm jamming with a fantastic rhythm section. And that's one of the things that I'm missing the most in this whole time of isolation, is just, you know, especially as the trumpet player and singer, you're in the middle of the band. You're nestled right in front of the bass, the drums, and the piano. And I love being inside it. And then they just have these wings that propel you to another level. So yeah, I've always loved that. And I like that feeling of adventure. I've been paragliding, and I went skydiving. I have a little bit of an obsession with flying. So I think jazz helps me. Jazz helps me satiate that in a safe way. Mostly safe.
Yeah, okay. Oh man, I didn't know you meant that in the literal sense too. That's wonderful. So how have you been managing lately with the big change, and what are things like, you know, around your neighborhood?
Yeah, well, I feel so fortunate that my apartment, I live right across from the East River Park. So I live across from a park. I have natural light, and without those things, I think I would be in a much different place, being kind of solar powered. Other than that, I mean, I haven't been outside of a mile radius in 6 weeks. So again, what's really neat about this sort of thing, and as you mentioned, I'm doing some Facebook Live hangouts, is I hear people and they're saying, I'm from Belgium and from Kazakhstan or Istanbul and all these different places in the world. And so I find my imagination is getting a real workout in terms of traveling and seeing people. So that's about it. I mean, you know, musically, I've been, as you said, finding opportunities to collaborate with people, which I didn't necessarily have the time or the mind space to do before. So that's been really inspiring. You know, like a lot of musicians, we slowly saw, okay, a couple weeks turn into 1 month, into now this is maybe 4 months. Let's be realistic, 8, or the what the effects are going to be on the scene for probably another 2 years.
Yes.
You know, I'm just being very realistic about that. Not looking too far ahead, but you know, just kind of one day at a time. But you know, kind of riding those waves. I think as musicians, we're used to planning 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years in advance, but now it's just a total game shift of how to make the best use of that time creatively and you know, set up your life.
Right. And so
You know,
I know
just
you're
wanted to
in
jump
an
in
apartment
here.
in New York. Is it too late to play where you're at? And I asked that because we had actually changed the time of this series, because I realized that at 8 o'clock onwards, a lot of folks, including myself, can't really play in our apartment. So are we within the time zone where you could play something live for a minute?
Sure, yeah. I mean, right now I think it's okay. My neighbors are pretty understanding.
Okay. Good. I'd love to hear
You want me
something.
to-
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll play a little bit. And then I heard that Lauren might have had something to say there. I want to make you
That's okay. I'm just going to keep him on mute until the end.
That's fair. Well, today we're celebrating the birthday of the great Duke Ellington. So I will play a little piece that can kind of fall into some hot, peppy jazz category. And one of the things that has kept me afloat is hoping and thinking that the people that I'm playing for are actually participating at the same time. So I'm going to play a little, I'm going to sing a little, and everybody who's at home at this party right now, please sing along.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
All right.
I believe you will. Here we go. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do what, 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 do what. No, it don't mean a thing. All you've got to do is swing. Do what, 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 do what. You can dance. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Oh yes. Just give that rhythm everything you've got. No, no, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do what, 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 and quieter. Do what, 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 do what. Yell it out.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, everybody, I hope you participated. I felt you anyway.
Love it. That's the cool thing about Zoom. You could actually see folks. First time I used Zoom, though, I had the camera going the wrong way to my map on my wall. But yeah, I finally figured it out. That's very cool. Lauren.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say, I really dug that. That was really, really, really beautiful. Hi, Bria. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah. What I was going to say before, when you were talking about planning 2 weeks ahead, 2 months ahead, 2 years ahead, I just wanted to say that's something that I really enjoy about this series that Tom is doing, and how I see this kind of merging with other players of your generations, which is that this series, as far as I understand it, is a long-term idea to set up a matrix for the next, frankly, for the next 6 months, the next year, maybe in the next 2 years. where it can really set up at the one chance like a good time get together, and to be frank about it, and I think the people listening know this too, an income stream for the musicians doing it. And I don't know, Dom's too modest to say, but you know, I mean, people have, you know, this is a gig, right? And so people are paid to do it, and it's really a way that so many of people who listen to music all the time, they may listen to their Dominic records, their Bria records, or whatever records they listen to. And I think it's really time for people to start to say it's time to give back a little bit, because so much media is free that, you know, for the amount of copy, you know, if the people listening or the people out there were to take, you know, what they spend, what people call chump change, right? You know, coffee or, you know, or this or that, and just put it towards actually paying live musicians. That's what I was going to say at that point.
So
I dug
making a donation.
Yeah, making a donation to Lauren Schoenberg. No, I'm just joking with you. No, but making a donation. Well, you know, and I'll just go on for about 30 more seconds because we want to hear what's happening with all the with the music here. But frankly, yeah, making a donation towards the series and the individual artists who you see. Again, when you think of the disposable income, even in this tough time that people have, and it is a tough time, but to be able to give back something, if the thousands and thousands and thousands of people, if not, you know, tens of thousands who dig your music, Bria, and dig your music, Dom, and all the guests that you're having, can just, you know, help. But anyway, I just had to say that. But I love that. I just have to say. You made me feel like playing too.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for
I'm done.
that, Lauren. Appreciate it. Now, the biggest challenge and goal is how can we stay connected in a really high quality and meaningful way with our audiences. And so part of this is this next song we'd like to debut for you. And again, we did this specifically for this episode. And this is something that Bria recorded in her place in New York. I recorded in my place in Cleveland. And our mutual friend, wonderful musician, Matisse Picard on piano joined us from his place in New York. And so this is a song that comes from, you know, second half of the 1900s. I first was introduced to it by Dean Martin singing it, and then Rosemary Clooney did an incredible version with Prez Prado. So we're excited to debut this song for you. So this is Sway.
When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway. Like a lazy ocean hugs the shore, hold me close, sway me more. Like a flower bending in the breeze, bend with me and sway with ease. When we dance, you have a way with me. Stay with me, sway with me. Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes, they see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I go weak. I can hear the sound of violins long before it begins. Make me thrill as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now.
Sounds beautiful, Bria.
Woo, Dominic, you did a really good job on that solo I wrote for you.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you.
kidding. Just kidding. I'm going to transcribe your solo and play it the next time I do it.
Oh yeah, please don't do that. No, no, yours was perfect. And so I heard, yeah, when we were thinking about what songs to record, this is on which album is this from? Yeah, obviously your own version.
Did I do it on a? It was on the With the Twist album because
Twist,
it had all
yeah.
these
Yeah,
arrangements
crazy
by Gil
photos.
Goldstein. Yeah.
Oh, Gil Goldstein.
Yeah, he did some arrangements, and it's neat that you actually mentioned Dean Martin. I think he was probably the first person I heard do that song as well, and somebody that I've checked out so much of his stuff because of his interpretation, but his swagger, I think, is just so much fun to check in. So it makes sense that we both have that frame of reference.
Yes, yes, absolutely. In a brief interlude, you hear the dog in the background, by the way? Can you hear it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So I'm not sure my neighbor is a fan of mine. I never play in my apartment, but obviously, right, I know we're all stuck in our places having to play. And so I'm not sure my neighbor is a fan of mine. And I try to play during, the right hours, but whenever we go outside, I mean, even we're 6 feet away from each other, like it's always really awkward. And I never really bring it up, and he doesn't either. But he's got this damn dog. It's about this big, this big. And lately, when I start playing, like 5 minutes later, it starts barking like relentlessly, like it's gonna go on and now. So, anyway, thank you. Yeah, Lauren.
So maybe it's Big Spiderback reincarnated.
Right.
maybe. You say, man, you missed those chord changes. No, yeah.
But
So,
speaking
yeah.
of Big Spiderback, all kidding aside, Bria, I'm just curious. Dom, in the last show, you talked about how when you were really young, you dug Harry James a lot, actually. And you would go in the room and you'd learn to play that. And, I've heard you do a lot of Louis Armstrong stuff, and I know that's really close to you. And now, Bria, in reading about you worked when you were young with somebody, was it Dal Richards? Is that the name?
Yeah,
Dal
yeah,
Roberts?
actually, Dal Richards, you had it right. And actually, Dal I met right when I was in university, so I was already in my 20s. But Dal Richards was Canada's king of swing. He led a big band for decades and decades. And when I was fortunate to meet him and playing in his band, he was already 90 years old, but he had
Jesus.
the honor of Canada, the keys to the city, and we did so many classic songs. I mean, I loved playing maybe a third trumpet in the big band with all the great old guys in Vancouver. And he had a lot of showpieces that some of the other ladies and I would sing and play. So I really got my show chops through Dal. But he was a real link to the past because if you think about it, he was one of the only big band leaders that led a big band in the 1940s, 30s, and 40s that was still alive. So it was just such a wonderful thrill to play with him.
Yeah.
And all of the musical influence. I know when I'm listening back to what you recorded, and vocabulary-wise, I think we're coming from the same place. Vocabulary-wise, and it's like it's the language, not only musical language, not only jazz language, but language from a very kind of specific time of jazz. And I really appreciate that you've really internalized that and turned it into your whole thing. Your own thing. An interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, just thank you.
Oh yeah. An interesting thing about this collaboration, for those of you who are curious on how it happens, so we pick the song and then we talk over the arrangement in great detail. We have an intro for X amount of measures. Bria's going to sing here, and then where am I going to play? We go back and forth. And on this solo section, for jazz nerds, on the solo section, I just changed just a couple chords, minor thing, just for some variety. And so basically, I wrote it out on this sheet. Just these are some of the chord changes for the solo section. Then I took a photo and then texted it to Bria and Matisse, the pianist, and then we did it that way. So it's like a real kind of like organic but streamlined kind of process that we're trying to figure out. But then we run into all kinds of things that come up during the recording process, especially since we're recording from our homes. And I just want to play this brief clip that, damn dog. He's very cute though. He's so cute when I see him. I love him. But, oh man, this brief clip of Matisse when he was actually starting to record what you just heard there. Let's check it out.
Slate video for Dom. Vi- Slate. Vi- Here. Slate.
I love that clip. So we got cars and dogs and all kinds of things.
You get
I have a story about.
2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes into a track, and a siren starts going, and you're like, oh, you know.
Oh,
the
right.
outtakes
Once
are-
you get recording it. Yeah. Man, or a
Oh,
dog.
you're so.
Lauren?
I don't just gonna say I had a story about Louis Armstrong and a dog, which you might enjoy. I'll make it really quick, and I'm having second thoughts now about even telling it. But the story goes, he had this great drummer from Chicago named Barrett Deems. And Barrett Deems, if you talk to people who knew him, was a real character. Dom, you should, and he was a real character. And the band was staying. They were up in Newport for the jazz festival, and they're staying at one of these. I was going to say at a rich person's house in Newport. Who else lives in Newport but rich people? You know, the big mansions, and they're staying in the house. And they came back after the gig late at night, and Barrett Deem's shoes were muddy. And he walked across the carpet and everything and totally messed up the people's carpet. Well, the next morning when they came down for breakfast, Louis Armstrong saw it, and he told the man, he said, "You can't do that. You're representing us in the band. You're going to have to pay for that carpet. You're going to have to come back and apologize to them and give them, you know, whatever it costs, and say, here it is on behalf of Louis Armstrong and the band." So he made an appointment to come back in the afternoon. So he goes back to the people's house. Now, this story is so out that I don't think that anybody could have made it up. He goes back to the house. The butler comes to the door. He says, "Oh, yes, Mr. Deems, Mr. and Mrs. Foxworth will see you. Please step into the study." He goes into the study, and he sees the carpet. He walks around the carpet. He sits down on the carpet. And he sits down on the sofa. When he sits down on the sofa, he hears beep. You know, he didn't know what it was. He looks like this. They had one of those miniature dogs. He sat on it and broke its neck.
Oh, that is awful. Okay, I thought this was going to be funny, Lauren. That's really disturbing.
Okay.
Thank you for that, though. Any other depressing, horrific stories to share? Okay. All right, Emmett, can you mute Lauren? I'm just kidding. No, that is.
Hold on, I got one right here. I'll just shove it in his face. All sorts of mutes.
That is bizarre. So, yes. So I'm seeing a lot of responses here. Thank you very much. One question. Looking through. Oh, by the way, there's many of these, but Bria Stefan says, "Bria, I followed you since 2012 at a performance at Hunter College. You're a real gift and joy to all of us. You really are the happy trumpet player." Very nice.
Thank you. Well, you know, I think I have to thank the trumpet. You know, it's such a release. You know, to be able to even play a brass instrument. You know, being able to play a trumpet is like the musical equivalent of just kind of scream all the time. I think so. I think part of the reason I can say that I'm very happy is because I have an outlet, a creative outlet, and just like a physical outlet to get whatever it is out that I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see you again.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in. And I see from Marty, Marty asked, "Are outdoor venues canceling this summer?" So, yeah, probably a lot of them. I don't know for sure, but I think in the bigger picture, I mean, I think it went from about a month and a half ago to, oh man, our gigs are canceled in May. All right, maybe we could do it in June. Okay, oh, wait, hold on, wait, June's canceled. Wait, July, August, September, wait, November, December, what's happening here? So it just keeps going. Now we're in just a whole different place of just having to reimagine everything from the ground up. So personally, I think 12 to 18 months, I mean, minimum, not to say that we won't be out playing live, but I see kind of like a tenth of what we were doing last year and the years, you know, before that. I don't know, Bria, how do you feel about things overall? I mean, in terms of like when,
Yeah, I wasn't involved, but today the Newport festivals, folk and jazz got canceled. So
Really?
Yep, and the Lincoln Center out of doors, obviously those ones are all done. It's not, to me, it's not necessarily a surprise. You know, you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. And I just think as long as they're until there's a vaccine, people aren't going to congregate closely, especially people who are, in older generations or have, weakened immune systems, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So, yeah, maybe in this way, some jazz clubs will thrive because they're smaller capacity. We'll be the first ones to come back with a vengeance.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I just realistically, I don't think that anybody will or should congregate in large groups until we know how to control it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we will find more ways to connect. We just will.
Of course. Absolutely. And I think that this is, you and I are getting to hang out and talk and play together because of this whole thing. I know we've tried to connect over the past couple of years, so I'm grateful for that and grateful to see so many faces here joining us. This is wonderful. And we'd like to get to some more music, and so today is a special day. Bria, I have if you don't mind, just wanted to play a clip of So Is the Day of your song that's coming out today.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Actually, we're having some technical challenges here, and I think I might be able to do it. Anyway, Bria, why don't you just tell us a little bit about this song? Because I know you wrote it a while ago, right? But this is a brand new music video that just came out today, right?
Yes, thank you. So this song is called So Is the Day, and I wrote it when I was still living in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I was going through a period of real frustration on a couple of different levels, and I had the moment where I just had enough of everything, and I was in my room, I put myself in the room, turned off the lights, grabbed my horn, and just started to play what I was feeling, which I hadn't really done so much until that time, but it's, again, the arts help us process feelings in such an amazing way. So I just started to play what I feel, and this melody came out that was simple, but haunted, but still resolved at the same time, and it germinated this song and some lyrics that have been with me ever since. And so I have been performing the song for a very long time. I even recorded it on an album in 2012, I think it came out. But I decided to re-record it on my latest album, which came out just last November. The album's called Nothing Never Happens. And now it's this epic, drawn-out storytelling piece that, again, allows me to express both what I'm struggling with, what I've been, feeling the blues about, also confronting it, and eventually just overcoming it. That's what the piece means to me. And I play it at so many of my live shows. If you've seen me play, you probably heard me perform it, and it's been a dream to put a video, storytelling to it. So today was the day. So today is the day that the video came out, and I've had the video, of course, for several months, but because of the delays like gigs, the opportunities to release it started to fall by the wayside as well. So I'll just say that this is it's really a joy for me. But also, again, there is a lot of blues, a lot of different emotional layers in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. We're gonna show a clip, and then later on at the Q&A, we're gonna get to watch the whole thing. So check it out. So Is the Day.
I love you. But I can't have you. So is the day that I write this song. I love you, but I can't have you. So is the day that I write this song.
Beautiful, Bria.
You know, somebody pointed out to me today that they're like, oh, it's very David Lynch. Once you get through it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense because I am a fan. But also,
Yeah,
if and when you watch it, for my friends in Cleveland, and somebody made a note here on the comments I can see, the bassist is Devin Starks, who's from Cleveland.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's really funny because in seeing a lot of, well, you know, just keeping an eye on different performances you're doing, the band members you have coming out, in and out. There's actually a lot of Cleveland presence. I know Devin. I saw the great pianist John Thomas.
Yeah.
He's from Cleveland, and Jerome Jennings. You know, and so yeah, it's good. And I think the first time we met was in Cleveland, right at Nighttown.
Yes, I had just played, and you had just, I think, come back from Doha with your band, and there were different people that I was meeting for the first time, and we just hung out there. I love
Right.
Nighttime.
And you're supposed, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but you're scheduled to be at the Bop Stop here in Cleveland at July 9th, I think, right?
Yes, yeah, I've heard a lot about the venue, and I haven't been yet. It's still on the calendar. Let's say that. And
Yes.
if it moves, it's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
The Bop Stop also does wonderful work in the community, and we're glad to have them as a promotional partner for this series as well. Great. So yes, good. I absolutely love this tune. So happy I've had the blessing to hear you perform this with your rhythm section recently. That's from Jane. Great.
Hey, Tom.
Trumpet player. Yes.
I saw here in the comments. I wanted to ask Bria about this. It's from Elisa Boudreau, and it says, "Hey guys, I'm happy to watch you. My mom used to play with Bria back in the day, and I'm really curious because neither of you seem old enough to me to play with anybody back in the day." But
Boudreaux. Can you give me a first?
maybe Elisa will write in and
Please,
okay.
let me know. Send me a picture.
yeah, sure.
I'd love to know that. I you know, I'll be totally honest. Names are not my forte.
Well,
Shiloh
It is-
Boudreau. Shiloh Boudreau.
Oh, Shiloh! Oh, of course. Yeah, we went to high school together.
Oh, okay.
Trumpet player. Yeah. Okay. And you
So
play
that was
trumpet,
back in the
don't
day.
you? I think you play trumpet. Anyway, I just exchanged some notes. So, Alicia, great. Okay,
Very
I
cool.
got you.
Yeah, and you know, it is such a small world. I know, Bria, this is the first time we're connecting for more than like 2 minutes, you know, and through email. And so I put together. I was just thinking about all of the paths, all the times that our paths have crossed, like within hours from each other in different places. And so I kind of nerded out and I put together a couple of photos. This is like really like if you have like PowerPoint as a standard, it's like 15 levels below that. But just check it out. So this, Bria at Jazz and Lincoln Center, Shanghai. I remember you did your 3-week residency there in Jazz and Lincoln Center, Shanghai. And the day that you left, I actually showed up to do my residency for 3 weeks. So we literally missed each other by like a few hours.
That's so funny.
So there's
Also,
that.
again, behind me there, Devin Starks. And
Oh, Devin.
Beautiful.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were both featured in this Vanity Fair article. I think it was December 2015 or 16. And I remember the photo shoots were like kind of back to back. And you were there, I see, with the Anderson brothers and a lot of great musicians. And yeah, we see Ben Wolf, Melissa Aldana. So that was like another time that we almost kind of connected. Like my slideshow next. Okay, so now this is important because I saw this photo. It seems like somebody drew this for you, right?
Yeah, in Columbus.
Oh, in Columbus. Okay. So I was kind of jealous of that because somebody drew this photo of me, this a sketch of me. All right. That was actually, you know, I did a TED Talk at the Kennedy Center and somebody drew that. I guess that's what I looked like right before I went on stage. So
Good.
I'm hoping the next time they could maybe draw you in place of me and, you know, or actually make me look a little better. And then sorry? Yeah.
Oh, just that picture of me was actually pretty good. I get some from time to time, and it's always interesting to see which features they decide to highlight.
Yeah. And now this next one is a Google search. Sorry, because my friend Gabe at the Bop Stop told me when you type my name in, the second thing that comes up as a suggested thing is wife, and when you type your name in, the third thing that comes up is husband. Isn't that so funny?
Yeah. So, and age. Oh my God.
And age.
And net worth sometimes comes up. You know.
I
so
looked up the
thing
net
goes,
worth thing. Yeah.
So tonight is really the first time that we're dispelling any conspiracy theories that we are the same person. There you go. Now we know. Now we know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. No, that's funny. I'm so glad. I know it took the whole COVID-19 thing to connect, but we're so glad to have you with us. And good. We'd like to move on to the next featured piece, which I'm really excited about as well. And before we do that, Bria, you've been a wonderful educator in the recent years. And I see Devin, he actually came from the Tri-C program. And a lot of our musicians in our program at the Jazz Fest Academy, Tri-C Jazz Fest Academy, ask about you and what you're doing, and a host of other musicians who are really, you know, on the scene as you are. So you've been a tremendous influence to a lot of young musicians here in Cleveland, even though I know you haven't done too much educational work here in Cleveland to date, and we hope to have you soon. But and I know you run a wonderful jazz camp. I have a question. In the program that I run, we have, you know, between 30 and 60 to 80 students, and mostly middle school and high school students. And in the program, we usually only have a handful of young female musicians. And I'm just wondering, what do you think we can do in our program, I think, to really encourage more young female musicians in middle school and high school to participate? Because I know they're out there, but we hear them at different schools and all that. And you know, we really want to kind of create this cohesion and really celebrate all kinds of different talent. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think first of all, I was very lucky growing up. I mean, Shiloh, I just talked about, there's a trumpet player that I went to high school with. Ever since I've been playing the horn through middle school, high school, college, there were always different girls that played alongside me. I mean, and it wasn't that unique at the time. Maybe it's, you know, the area that I came from, which is also the area of the great Ingrid Jensen. So
yes,
maybe, you know, having that, knowing that there was already somebody who did that, or I had like a visual representation, I guess, just made me not overthink it at the same time. So the first question I'd say is, how many women do you have on your faculty? And what instruments do they play? You know, those are just some of the ways that I think, especially for younger people, you just want to say, oh, that person, they play my instrument, and we kind of look the same. I don't know why but that's something that really helps. And also, you know, in the last couple of years, I've definitely gotten more proactive about reaching out, doing specifically to individual people that I know, you know, young players. I have at least 10 little brass sisters all over the continent that I have text conversations with. And honestly, I find that social media is a great connection for those sorts of things. Like, I'll find someone and I'll send them a little note and just say, hey, you sound wonderful. I just want you to know you've got a big sister in the city. You know, try to make those sort of connections. So I think inviting them, if they don't feel included already, it's okay to send out an invitation, to go and seek them out and to find them. You know, there are so many fantastic girl musicians out there, you know, boys and girls, of course. I don't mean to exclude them, but also, you know, there's a power in numbers sort of thing, the buddy system. So I know right when I was 17, I met one of my greatest musical friends, Claire, who's a clarinet player. She lived across the border, and we would go to jazz festivals together, and we'd always sit in with bands together. And just to have that kind of like buddy system, even going to jam sessions, I think gave me a lot of confidence along the way. So looking for opportunities to, you know, really recognizing the talent. And I understand it's difficult for teachers because you don't want to give them too much attention, but you need to help them feel included at the same time. I would just make sure they know that the opportunities are there and connect them with a network of girls that they can be, you know, feel akin to. I'm a member of there's a Women in Jazz organization that cropped up a couple of years ago. One of the founders is Roxy Koss, an incredible sax player.
Yeah.
Yep, and they have a mentorship program that I was part of this year. They like line up, you know, older artists and younger up-and-comers to just discuss many of the things beyond music. So I think there are some neat things like that. But again, my first question for you is, how many women are on your faculty, or which musicians do you know? Who can you ask and say, keep your spidey senses up and send out invitations to those people? That's it. Use them as a resource. You know, I have no problem if somebody just said, you know, how do I'd love to be a resource for these sorts of things. So any way that you can, you know, either use me to connect those dots, I'm more than happy to do it.
It's great. Thank you very much for that, Bria. Yeah, this year we were actually planning on bringing in Alexa Tarantino, wonderful saxophone player, and Dia Owens on bass.
Awesome.
Right. We were really excited about having them come from New York for our Downbeat days, but that's not happening. But we're still doing, you know, the education videos, and we'll revisit it next year. But absolutely, that's great. Thank you for that. Great. Once we before we move to our next song, Bria, I can't pass this up because you, in an interview you were doing, I think last year, you just had this something you said. I just want to mention in pertaining to arts education in the schools. So sorry to keep finding these quotes, but
I'm like, what I say?
You have good quotes, so it's awesome. You know, by creating art, we're documenting everything that's going on in the world, and by taking the arts away, you're taking away the voice of a generation. I read that, man. That's really right on.
Where that hits me, where that strikes a nerve, is where, you know, we say music and arts programs are being cut from schools.
Right,
because, you know, again, like I say, I've been doing this for 2 decades or more, and I'm grateful for this outlet so that I have a place to express myself and share stories and document what's going on. But yeah, if students of all ages, but especially young ones, aren't taught to express themselves, you know, through poetry, art, painting, music, writing, that just squanders their voices, and in some ways I think it makes people easier to control at the same time. So it gives them, you know, confidence to find their own voices and to, you know, have their strength, and empower their generation, hopefully, you know, long term, because these effects, everything that's happening right now is going to affect them when most of us are gone. So yeah, I think the arts are just so necessary for all of those reasons, for personal outlets, and to keep making progress as a society. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. I see a lot of questions coming in about that. We'll actually kind of revisit that in the post-show Q&A. Thank you all for your comments. So now we'd like to move to the next collaboration. Great song. Also, Bria, I know I heard this on one of your albums. You did it in your own way, and comes from Count Basie Orchestra, Joe Williams, and countless other great recordings. So this is All Right, Okay, You Win.
I'm in love with you, well alright, okay. You win, baby, what can I do? I'll do anything you say. It's just got to be that way. Well alright, okay. You win, I'm in love with you, well alright, okay. You win, baby, what can I do? Anything you say I'll do, as long as
You win. You win. You win.
It's fun. We
And how
nerded
about
out
that
on
piano playing?
Oh, so good.
Jesus.
Matisse Picard. Matisse Picard.
Woo!
Matisse is
Okay.
going to be
You
with
guys-
us on the next episode too. Man, he's and listening to that stuff is killing, and listening to him play his stride stuff is like, man, just beautiful. Yeah.
The three of you sound like the Count Basie band all together. That was rocking. I got to tell you something about this series. You know, I miss hearing live music so much, and seeing people that, because I'm doing this with you, Dom, twice a week. You know, I'm getting that feeling. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? Like I'm getting that heart beating feeling. You know, that I just don't get. So I want to thank you so much for this. And with Bria, I'm sure that the folks out there all agree. I mean, I felt like I was sitting right in the club listening to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, it's so refreshing. Like even,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, no secrets there. I'm listening to a track and jamming, but just to the idea of playing with somebody is so exciting.
Yeah.
It feels so good.
Yeah, and I was looking at your video, and I was trying to play along, and I noticed your Louis Armstrong poster in the back. And I mean, talk about trumpet nerd central. Like I have my Louis Armstrong thing in the back.
You gotta find it. Keep the inspiration.
Right.
Keep,
But when you were playing and when Matisse was playing, I was like talking. I was like, yeah, man, all right, yeah. What the hell? And the damn dog starts barking again. Yeah.
Maybe the guy with the dog has a nice carpet. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. That's going back to the old joke, but we'll let it go.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, we can revisit that horrible joke in the Q&A. So we've had a blast tonight, and we thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to take a few minutes and then come back for an after hours Q&A. You're welcome to join us. As I mentioned, we're going to be making some really exciting announcements. Since you're here with us now, we're excited to announce that with special thanks to our lead sponsor, Tri-C Jazz Fest, we're able to really get behind their core mission of bringing music to the community at large and in a very accessible way so that everybody can check it out and be a part of it. So beginning this Sunday, May 3rd, moving forward in May, Songbook Watch Party is going to happen Sundays at 7, once a week. We're going to have several more artists on each episode, and it's going to be a multicast here at Zoom, on Facebook, and on YouTube, and eventually some other platforms. We have wonderful support from Jazz Corner, who's going to also multicast it, and All About Jazz, and Jazz Fest, and Nighttown, and Bop Stop, and a lot of great partners that we're really excited to heighten the visibility of this series. Personally, I'm excited to not only welcome a lot of my friends and great artists that I don't know, but I admire, to the show nationally and internationally, and also to welcome some wonderfully gifted musicians from here in our Cleveland community to celebrate all the great music that they bring to us. And I see a few of them online. I see Joe Hunter here, and I see Dave Sterner, who asked a question about Devin. Dave's wonderful saxophonist, and both Dave and Joe are on the faculty at Tri-C. So anyway, we have big plans. That said, the way that the series is going to continue is solely based on your support. So it is going to be available complimentary with a suggested contribution, so that if you do have the means to contribute, we really appreciate it. And if you know folks who don't have the means, we want them to tune in and check it out. So we're really excited to kind of move this to the next phase. And Lauren, of course, thank you so much for your invaluable insight and great cringing jokes from time to time. Appreciate it. Your beautiful playing. Bria, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you, everybody, and nice to meet everybody that I haven't met before. And I look forward to seeing you in person someday.
Yes, that sounds great. Before Bria and Lauren, if you don't mind, could we just maybe trade choruses on a blues and F? Maybe just kind of go around. I'll start. And for everyone,
Dom,
yes.
who should go second, just so we can communicate? Maybe I should break up the two trumpets.
Yeah, that sounds good. So
Okay.
I sound better that way if I don't have to play after Bria. And for those of you who are listening, check it out. See if you can feel the seamless groove, because we've been working on really kind of syncing the rhythm you know, across the different, across our different channels here. Sometimes. Great. Okay.
Waka waka.
So this will be Lauren's last episode here at Songbook Watch Party. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate it. Great. All right, here we go. That horn, man.
Blow your horn.
Okay. All right. Yes. Yes. All right. Yes. Well, it's great to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We welcome. We invite you to check out the Q&A after hours, and we look forward to seeing you this coming Sunday. You'll get an email about it. We need your support. We want you there. Want to make this a great thing. Bria will be back. Matisse Picard on piano. Diego Figueredo on guitar is joining us from South America, and all kinds of wonderful artists. So, all right. I'm Dominic Farinacci, and this is Songbook Watch Party. We'll see you in a minute. Thank you. Okay. All right. Hello again. I saw a comment from, sorry, let me turn this up. Great. So this is the after hours Q&A here, and we appreciate everybody's response. By the way, you can also do a virtual hand raise, and we can call on you, and you actually come on the screen and say something. I mean, ask a question. I mean, there should be purpose to it, but that is an option as well. We get that from time to time, and that's fun. Before we continue, I do want to acknowledge a couple things. You know, this is truly a team effort in building the Songbook Watch Party. It seemed like a great idea about a month and a half ago, and I agree it is a great idea, and it's an incredible amount of work, like literally 14 to 18 hours a day, 12 of those hours figuring out how to use this damn Zoom application, and you know, making it better and better. And for those of you who were with us from the first, you can see the progress we've made, and we're just getting started. But I certainly couldn't do it without the great help of our wonderful director, Emmett Murphy. And yeah, Emmett has been really great. And also Robert Balaguer as well, helping out to make this as seamless as possible. it's been a great learning experience for all of us. And for those of you who've seen my Modern Warrior live production, Emmett is our director and producer of that. And so we're really excited this is a brand new partnership, and we're really starting to build this with great team members. So, and also I do want to mention, in terms of your support, we really are grateful for it. The one thing that I kind of set as a standard for this series from the start was that high quality content and programming and engaging artists and music, and everybody involved would be compensated properly, albeit modestly for right now, for their time. So it's been a small initiative, but just in this small circle of Songbook Watch Party, we've been able to compensate more than 15 artists, our directors, our engineers. So the songs that you hear, the songs that you heard the collaboration for, we record the video and audio, and then we send the audio to an engineer who works from his home to make it sound a little bit better. So we're employing our engineers as well, also our graphic designers and our videographers, and a host of others. So although it is modest at this moment, it is something that we really want to build. And that's why we're really committed to giving you the highest quality presentation, because we know everybody's struggling in their own ways to varying degrees, and we certainly don't take that for granted. So we thank you in advance for helping to kind of keep this series sustainable. We're excited about that. Now, I have a question. I saw a comment from Ava Preston. Ava, are you still here? If you are here, just send a comment, because you were asking about Bria's. Oh, yes, okay. So do you mind? Okay, so this is a wonderfully talented young vocalist. She's 15 and been working with her for the past few years. She's a great songwriter. I'd actually I know this is totally unplanned, but Ava, if you're there, would you mind doing something? I'd like Bria to hear you.
Yay.
She loves Ella. Okay, let's see. All right, we'll give her a second. I'm totally putting her on the spot there, but she was asking.
Me.
You. No.
She's gonna come through. I know when I challenge her, she always comes through. So anyway, she was asking a question, Bria. Let's see. Okay, cool. 1 second. Yes, 1 second. Let me find out the question, because it was a good one. Great. So, sorry. Could anyone find that question right there? I know this is a little awkward. Okay. So this is Ava. So while she's getting ready, I know she is. Sorry. So Ava was asking, does the Women in Jazz program have mentors for vocalists, Bria?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And as a vocalist, don't let anybody ever tell you you're not a musician or an instrumentalist or part of the band. Yes is the answer. Mm-hmm. And where could she find more out about that? We are WIGO or JO, sorry, jazz. Look up Women in Jazz Organization. I think WIGO is the Instagram handle. If you can't find it, find me, or find Dominic and find me, and we'll make sure you get attached to that. But hope it should be. I don't know the URL off the top of my head, but it should be easy to find. And if not, you have resources right here.
Okay, great. And your website is just briaskonberg.com, right, Bria?
Yeah, the easiest way to find me is just to Google Bria Trumpet. Maybe you understand this, but it's easier than spelling my last name. Just trying to figure that out. So just Bria Trumpet, you'll find me on all the interweb activities you kids are into these days.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right. So let's see. Yeah, from Jay Gregory, thank you very much. It's a great concept, and hopefully it will add a new dimension to live music. Yeah, we appreciate you mentioning that. That's certainly our goal here. Not kind of a plug, but something that can be really quality and sustained down the road. Yeah. So, hey, Lauren, I'm just curious, because I know we're kind of separated from a generation or so, and the artist, I was fortunate at the beginning of 2000s to move to New York City and to hear and study with some of the legends from that era, from the 30s and 40s and 50s, like Joe Wilder and Ray Brown, getting to hear and see him play, and Benny Golson and so many legendary artists. So now as things go on, we get further and further away from the being directly connected to those artists, and most of them are no longer with us. So I'm just curious, what is your perspective in terms of hearing the music that we've been talking about today, which is from that era, just kind of generation-wise,
Well, I'm happy to talk about it. First of all, I just want to say, just parenthetically, about the dog story that I told in the first half. That was not a joke. That was a story, and I'm glad to hear that the barking dog sound has disappeared from where you are. But as we continue here, just 1 second. But anyway, you were asking. I'm sorry, that's my neighbor next door. They got some strange things going on over there. But anyway, all kidding aside, I moved to New York in '76. So, I got to be on the bandstand with people like Roy Eldridge and Benny Carter and Joe Jones and those people. And it wasn't because I was good. I think it was just because I was in the right place at the right time. And I was there just to sit in and be around them. And you two, really, Bria worked with you two, is that correct?
I got to be in a horn section.
Okay, right. But both of you got here and got around at the time, where you were actually able to make that connection. Like the band leader that Bria was talking about, who was in his 90s when you played with him, which was quite a while ago, and Dominic too. So for me, I just look at it like a chain, a chain, and the fact that there's something about that era and something about those people that goes beyond the records and goes beyond studying the solos and all that kind of stuff. But you want to know something? That's been true since the first person walked on the earth. It'll always be the truth. And you two are legatees. As I mentioned, I first heard Bria and about Bria with, of all things, David Ostwald's Louis Armstrong Legacy Band, which is this great band that plays Wednesdays at Birdland. And Dan Morgenstern told me about her. And that's the first time that I heard Bria. And then I was pleasantly surprised later on when I heard some of her own albums and checked out what she does, that she has kind of this broad musical world that's kind of pretty far reaching. And frankly, Dom, I'm not, that frankly, you have the same thing. I don't know how many people here have, necessarily heard all your albums, which really range from what we would call straight ahead records to, that wonderful album that you did with Tommy LaPuma. And what I'd like to propose here is, in jazz, there's a great tradition of, two trumpeters, like those records that Fats Navarro and Howard McGee made, and I don't know whom else. And I would love to hear the two of you with Matisse or something like that. I mean, a whole night, because you two complement each other so beautifully. That's something that I would like to hear.
Ooh, make it happen.
Okay. We'll do it at the Jazz Museum.
Hey.
Okay.
Cool. That sounds good. Sounds good.
So that's my thought about the tradition. Yeah.
And I have one clip I want to share of Bria. I think going back to Joe's Pub as well. I'm not sure actually where this is from, but this is talking about one of those songs that you're talking about, Lauren. Bria, I love your interpretation of it. I just want to check it out for a minute, if that's okay.
Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams and leave your worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, you got it.
Absolutely. I even got my in
Love
there.
it. So,
Who was in that trio? It sounded great. Who's in the band with you there?
You know, I think that was my most regular working trio is Matisse Picard on piano, Devin Starks on bass, and Darian Douglas on drums. Really deserves a lot of credit. We've played together for about 8 years now, and we really trust each other. I trust him a lot, and that means a lot to me.
That's a hard tempo.
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Gotta sit on it.
Yeah, yeah, and speaking of Devin, the bassist, I was part of a special night at Nighttime when Wynton Marsalis came through Cleveland, and we had a group from Tri-C performing, and Wynton came and sat in with the group. This was when Devin was playing, and I remember how taken back Wynton was from Devin's spirit, you know. And Devin was still working out his stuff, but like he just has that thing. And I remember the next night, Wynton had an interview on, I'm pretty sure it was Tavis Smiley, and he mentioned, man, I just heard this bass player from Cleveland, Devin. Thought, man, how beautiful. And I know Wynton has been important to you over the years, Bria, right, as he has been to a generation of artists.
Yeah, I have a couple quick stories about Wynton. I mean, the very first time I met him was backstage at Ben Royal Hall in Seattle. A friend of mine, we went to the concert, and like many, remember something that the Lincoln Center Orchestra does that is so generous is invite students back after the show. And he took basically my friend and I and her dad into the green room where it was and gave an impromptu 10-minute lesson. I mean, that to me, for someone who never got the chance to even be in existence at the same time as Louis Armstrong, I just felt like I was in the presence of greatness. I felt, it felt calming, and yet he gave me some solid feedback about playing melodies, which was just amazing. I think I was 18 at the time. And another just funny story is, so I moved to New York City in 2010. I had been here a couple times before, but the very first day that I actually moved, I took a red-eye flight from the West Coast, and I said goodbye to my parents. It was very emotional because it was the first time that I had ever left, maybe with the intention of not coming back. And I came and I took a cab to Brooklyn. I crashed on my friend Emily's couch for just a couple of hours, and she said, "Hey, do you want to come and go busking in Washington Square Park with this band that I play with called Baby Soda?" So that was just something that I, did. We were out, again, not even 6 hours after getting to New York City, moving with my suitcases, and I was out in Washington Square Park with this band, and we were jamming on some good ones, like, I think it was Wine and Boy Blues. And playing, da 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 da, playing, and then Wynton Marsalis walked by in Washington Square Park, and he stopped to listen, and I was like, okay, am I just delirious right now because I haven't been sleeping or something? But confirmed with the other people in the band through awkward looks that, oh my God, that's Wynton Marsalis, and he stopped and he listened a little bit and he gave me a thumbs up, and I think I gave him an awkward thumbs up or something, something ridiculous. But to me, that was such an amazing, like, okay, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're not in BC anymore. Like, we're in New York. This was a move. It's a sign to make that I maybe made the right decision right now. That meant a lot to me. It probably didn't mean much to him, but at that very moment, it meant a lot. And he's been, just very, very just supportive ever since then in various situations where we've met.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. And I know that feeling, the awkward feeling too, with Wynton. For some reason, I know I've known him for 20 years. It always gets a little weird because of the admiration that I have for him. Yeah.
Sure, which is when, if students come up to you and sometimes feel like you can tell they're a little tongue-tied or they're not sure what to say, I just try to be like, no, I get it. It's okay. I know.
So speaking of young musicians, so Ava has surfaced. And Ava, I'm going to put you on the spotlight here. 1 second, because I want to say hello. Hello, Ava. How are you? Oh, hold on. Can't hear you. A second.
He's the only one who can.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear?
Yeah. Hi.
Ava, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So say hello to everyone.
Hi. Nice to see y'all.
So Ava is 15 years old, and she's a very dedicated and talented young vocalist here in the Cleveland area. Great songwriter. She has a couple songs that are coming out on Spotify soon. Very exciting that she just won one of those Downbeat Awards. Sorry, what was it, Ava? I always get confused on what it was because I haven't won any. Yeah. Sorry.
It was the vocal jazz soloist honors category and the blues pop rock category.
And that just happened yesterday, right? You won first place in that?
Yeah.
That's really exciting. And so for those of you who are tuning in, like the awards and all that stuff for us musicians, like it's cool, but what's most exciting about it is like the process you go through to really, work on the music diligently and do your best you can do, and then, work with other, peers around the country and see where you place. And so really proud of you, Ava, for all of those cool accolades that you're starting to build up. Most importantly, because you're very dedicated. And I'd love for Bria to hear you, well, and the 63 others who are on here. Sorry to put you on the spot. But yeah, whatever you'd like to do. I know you love Ella and all these wonderful artists that you've studied, so go ahead.
Well, I really like this Sarah Vaughan song. I've sang it a lot, and it's probably my favorite. It's called Can't Give You Anything But Love. I don't know, I really love Sarah Vaughan. I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I've plenty of, baby. Dreaming a while, scheming a while, you're sure to find happiness, and I guess all those things you've always pined for. Gee, I'd like to see you looking swell, baby. Diamond bracelets, Woolworth doesn't sell, my pretty baby. Till that lucky day, you know darn well, baby, I can't give you anything but love.
Yes.
Yeah! Encore!
Did you write that, Ava? Yeah. No. I know that was written like 15,000 lifetimes before you were born.
Yeah.
Great. Beautiful. And I'm just curious, Ava, who are some of your biggest musical influences that you've been checking out over the past few years since you were 4?
Well, definitely Ella, and Sarah Vaughan, of course, Carmen McRae. I like Peggy Lee. I also really like, in terms of like writing, I love Sarah Bareilles, and I also listen to a lot of instrumentalists for voice. I mean, I really like Herbie Hancock and some of the more like out kind of players from the 60s and 70s. I like classic rock too. So
Yeah! That's what I like to hear. I think in college, I've always been a fan of like classic rock and hard driving and punk and ska music too. But all that, I just want to say, yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. I think that last riff, I can give it if you have anything but love. I think I'm going to totally steal that. Thank you.
that means a lot. I really think that you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. I want to share, one of my favorite singers of all time is Anita O'Day. I don't know if you've checked her out. There's one of my favorite albums is Anita O'Day sings the Cole Porter Songbook with Billy Mays. But she's somebody, if you like instrumentalists and singers, that I think is just so cool to listen to, the way that she embellishes, and she sings a couple of choruses. That T for Two video is inspired by her, but she's somebody I like to listen to too. Anyway, and I love and I agree with all your influences too. I can't wait to jam together someday.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Thank you.
Cool. Did I just lose my gig, Bria? Could I still join you guys?
No, get mine. Sorry.
Okay.
No, but honestly, this is another thing. You say, how can we encourage, young women or young players? It's like, give them an opportunity. And, Ava, it's so good that you just took that opportunity right there, even if, it's probably been a journey to gain that confidence. I know it was for me. But just older musicians saying, hey, come on, sit in, come on and do this. And probably at times when I didn't sound ready, you sound much better than I did at 15. But, just kind of doing that. Come on, get involved, and everything just give it a try. Make sure you keep trying.
Thank you very much, Ava.
Thank you.
Great. Just want to get to a couple questions here before we play it, and I want you all to hear the extended video, and you can check it out afterwards as well, of Bria. Before that, we had a couple others. So from Jolene, in the old days of jazz, did vocalists always use amplification in live performance? Was there a time when they would build it out like the old days of Broadway or classical singers? It's an excellent question.
Yes. Yes, most definitely. I mean, and maybe Lauren wants to weigh in on this one too. But I mean, the oldest instruments we have, if you're clapping or singing, definitely. I mean, the blues singers. I mean, and many of the people that were pioneers couldn't, couldn't afford amplification. When was it even invented? Lauren,
In
jump
the
on in.
20s, well, in the late 20s and early 30s, but there's wonderful stories. I mean, we're talking about how both of you were inspired by Wynton. And Wynton had a mentor in New Orleans named Danny Barker,
Yeah.
who was a guitar player, banjo player, played with Jelly Roll Morton and Cab Calloway. He went way back. And he has a wonderful book. And in his book, he talks about hearing Bessie Smith in a field out in the rural part of Louisiana in a tent that had 2,000 people in it. And she sang without a mic. And he said it was like mass hypnosis. You know what I mean? Like what she could do to an audience. So yeah, so people could, but I'm sure they were thrilled when mics came in because I'm sure it puts a certain strain on the person.
As a member of the scene that specializes in older styles of jazz too, and being like busking out in Washington Square Park, like I said, there are certain stylistic things that come when you do sing only without microphones. Trying to think of good examples of that right now. I mean, so Peter Ford, the leader of the Baby Soda Band, like they learn how to resonate within kind of their head, their chest in a different way. So there are still people that focus on that and use it as an effect. I mean, I did this tour with the Monterey Jazz Festival All-Star Band, and Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, of course, one of the greatest, once-in-a-generation singer that we have right now. She'll definitely take the opportunity to step away from the microphone. Doesn't matter how big the hall is, just for even another effect and for the authenticity of it, just so people can hear what your voice sounds like unaffected.
And I just want to add to that, who's been doing that for years is Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
And if you go to hear Tony Bennett, even at Carnegie Hall or some big venue at some point. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, he turns off the mic at one of the songs. That's very special. Yeah, I heard him do that. Yeah, for 2,000 people in Cleveland. It's incredible. Very cool. And I see Valerie popping up here. Yeah, she mentioned Clifford Brown earlier, which is awesome. And yeah, talking about Japanese imports, the early stuff with Ernie, talking about recordings. Ernie Krivda, legendary artist here in Cleveland. So thank you all so much for your comments here. And Jerome says, okay, yep, great. So, okay. So I want you to check out now the full version of Bria's video that just came out today. And Bria, I have to tell you, I know you mentioned David Byrne, right?
Well, David Lynch, although I'm a David Byrne fan too.
Yeah, David Lynch. So when I first heard this just, 4 hours ago, the first thing I thought about was Peggy Lee, because when I went to Sleep No More in New York, which is this incredible, this is like this virtual remake of a Shakespeare play, like an interactive thing throughout a hotel. Bizarre, hard to explain. But there was one scene where there was somebody, I think, laying dead in a bathtub, and then a vocalist was singing very like deadpan, and she was singing, "Is That All There Is?" Oh. And listening to Peggy Lee sing "Is That All There Is," I feel like that was kind of like that vibe in some way was kind of channeled in what you were doing in this video. I don't know, is that
Sure. I mean,
relevant?
I've listened to a good amount of Peggy Lee and understand the depth in her singing. But I with this sort of song and this sort of material, whatever your experience is correct. At the same time, if you hear it and that's what resonates with you, that sounds good to me. I agree with you.
Right. Yeah. Cool to channel all these influences, So great. Okay, so here it is, and you can check it out on Bria's site and YouTube all over. Just came out today. So this is awesome.
I love you. But I can't have you. So is the day that I write this song. 'Cause So is the day that I write this song. But I can't have you. So is the day that I write this song. I love you. But I can't have you. So is the day that I write this song. I want you. But I can't have you.
Whoa, Okay, I love the thank you to Dennis. Someone's like, all I need is a bartender.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, I'll have what you're having. Thank you thank you everybody for partaking in that and sharing that with me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bria. Love it, love it, love it. You're such an incredible talent, and thank you for your time today on our program. Can't wait to have you back on Sunday. So for those of you who are available, hopefully you are, because nobody's leaving, hopefully not. And we appreciate those who have to leave and go do the things to keep things moving. We're grateful. This Sunday, May 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you get an email about it. You got to sign up. And Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, this is going to be our first coming out party. So, Lauren, thank you so much again for your great input.
My pleasure.
And somebody had asked if you read all those books behind you, and I want to tell them it's actually a green screen, right?
No, they're just cardboard. It's a cardboard picture, actually.
Okay. Great. Well, you're a true inspiration, Lauren. Like, thank you for all you do. Bria, Emmett, Robert, and all of you for joining in. I'm Dominic Farinacci. This is Songbook Watch Party. Have a wonderful evening.